Okay. So I'll explain to you a little bit about what I do and what the purpose is, right? My primary purpose is an awakened, self-realized, enlightened state of consciousness. Okay? And so I have that as a purpose, but somehow, don't live it as a continuous experience. So what I do is I, find ways that raise my consciousness, that help me wake up. Okay? And so, from your point of view, again, and so when I'm talking to somebody I know well and I've got a lot of history with and I know, how they behave and think and everything, that's your normal state of consciousness that I know, and mine is the one that you know. That's our personality, it's our ego structure, it's our identity that we've taken on
us.
here. It's not us. It's anything but us. But it is how we're experiencing ourselves.
Okay.
We've got this life with this history, with these relationships, with these range of abilities, right? This is, the construct of what you have to operate with as an identity here. And same for me. And everybody wants to improve themselves, little by little, in a way that's comfortable and not too challenging, but none of us really do very much. Move beyond what everybody that knows us could predict, right? Everybody you know how they're going to be in 5 years. You know the degree of the success they're going to let themselves have. Everything's obvious. All you have to do is look, right? But what you're looking at is the construct of the personality. It's a fabrication. It's created. It's not real. It's what they would speak in heavenly language. It's temporal, which means temporary. It can't hold on to its structure when it moves into a divine state of awareness or a heavenly type of experience. So when you have a constructed identity that's made up, that's not really you, when you move into a state of an awakening, everything dissipates. Everything that's not real, but by real, you mean eternal. So whatever the eternal nature that you have, that's the only thing that is truly you, and it's the only thing that remains after you reconnect with a cosmic level of consciousness or a universal level or a holy, whole, complete and holy level. What the Christian mystics would say is the realization of a complete consciousness, within the embodiments. That's what we know and do and move as. So there's a lot of people that do real well here, consciously. And when you start considering this subject, you start saying, what are the possibilities really? What is really available? Well, as who you are, not very much. Your life will continue on as it is if you continue on as you are. So if you're allowing the creation of the false identity to be destroyed, then all you have to do is contemplate the divine within the experience of yourself. Notice it. You allow it. You go, what would that be like? What would that feel like to me? What would it feel like what would my body feel if it knew it was occupied by a divine consciousness? How does a body respond to that? Are you able to be out of balance? Are you able to maintain a state of a desire to destroy yourself? Or limit yourself or restrict yourself in any way. You know, when you're looking for the possibilities of what could really be your experience of yourself, if you truly opened up, if you truly let go of the false nature that you've created yourself to be here. So we just take a close look at ourselves. You know, we use every sensation we feel, what it feels like to be us, to be this body, to be this personality, to be this being. You know, how are we constructed? How clean are we? How dirty are we? How able are we to be successful here? A lot of fear around that, you know, a lot of concern about how do I make this work now so that it's good for me instead of a struggle. You know, so when you ask yourself questions like that, when you allow for yourself to stay open to the answer, every question should be answered, and is, if the receiver's still willing to understand what it is that he asks to know about. So if you want to know from your own experience what your eternal nature is as you're experiencing yourself in this moment, then you have to allow yourself to be changed from your experience of yourself into this moment, into that level of truth that we're just talking about. And it's a quantum shift. It's a leap in infinite variations. You know, if you're going to sample your own eternal nature, you can't do it. You can't know it. You can't understand it. You can't experience it, and unless you allow yourself to be transformed in the moment by that experience, by that realization, by that knowing. So if you ask for a divine connection, and you're actually open to receiving it and having it, you can't maintain even the idea of who you are anymore. That's really false and really something that, you know, a fully aware being would choose for itself. You know, so if you're suffering, you know, just know that you made some bad choices. You know, you don't have to continue to suffer, but you have to take responsibility that every aspect of your suffering is your own creation. It was your own choice of who and what you are here. And then reality accepted you as that and treated you accordingly. Right? Reality doesn't argue with us about who we are. Not really. Because we don't listen to the words. We just experience what you are. Okay? There's no thought about it. There's no judgment about it. It's just, okay, what is this? Okay, I get it. But then when you look that deeply into the nature of somebody else, and if you're capable of doing that, you know, they're going to see in you an expanded awareness of their own truth, their own reality, the one that is transcendent to this one, that's our true home. You know, so what we're doing is we're two unconscious guys talking about what it's like when we're truly at our home, at ease, with no limitations, no restrictions, no judgments, no enemies. You're beyond all that. You're beyond all that to the point that reality, when it comes into connection with you, wakes up a whole lot from where they were. Immediately starts to make better choices. Immediately goes, okay, there's something here. There's something here that's good. You know, there's something here invites me to be the best of myself. You know? How would reality feel if it felt that as the reality's experience of you? What if the experience of you by the rest of reality was an awareness that they just connected with a grace, you know, a wisdom, a knowing of the truth of themselves? You know, from my viewpoint of view, that's what I'd most enjoy, is you at a level of experience that inspires everyone that's ever known you to just go, wow, as flippin' unpredictable as it could have been, but God bless him, you know, he's what we all wish to be for ourselves now. He made a shift, he made a choice, he transitioned, he transcended, he stopped denying for himself his own eternal nature and truth as his experience of himself while he's embodied. Come on, man. It's not being nice to yourself. Don't hold anything back. Don't buy into what reality said that you were when you were too young and too unaware to understand what they were even communicating. You just knew that they were in control and you weren't. But that's not the case anymore. Your reality is as you choose it to be now. You know, and this is the result of your choices. And so you have to take responsibility for those choices to the point where they're no longer relevant to your reality here. You know, when you take complete, absolute responsibility, you've just shattered the chains of your limitations. Because you're always 100% responsible. It's never anybody else's fault but yours. Ever. And in that knowing of that, taking that responsibly infinitely opens your horizons as to what you can experience for yourself now. Oh, I'm responsible. Well, then, what do we want now? And you just, if you're open and allowing, you experience the process of awakening as you are. As pathetic as I am. Oh my God, guess what? I can awaken too. Well, isn't that nice? There's no prerequisites. There's no sins that can hold you back, because anything that anyone ever did here was because of who and what they thought they were. They were unconscious. They were crazy. They didn't realize themselves here. And so what are you going to do? Condemn somebody who didn't realize what the truth of himself was, and so was acting out in complete consistency with the stupid nature that they took on for themselves in a moment where they were unconscious and made a bad choice, made a bad decision. But no bad choice or bad condition, bad decision is ever permanent. You always have a chance to be reflective. And to say, yeah, the more I take responsibility that I'm the only one that is responsible, the freer I become. Isn't that interesting? And so if the truth sets you free, then the truth is it was always your responsibility, everything. Certainly everything with yourself is step one. And then the realization as you waken up to the full responsibility of the truth of yourself, then reality becomes fluid again. You know, your awareness goes, okay, oh, yeah. Okay, I'm back now. Okay, so what are we doing? Well, what we're doing is saying we have a lot of history. And when your consciousness thinks about it, from now on, I want it to be colored completely by the fact that you knew that somebody knew your eternal nature and still let you pretend to be your ego and your personality here. So I give you permission for whatever you choose. But what I'm looking for is for you to choose so well that there's a radiance, a truth that actually causes a radiance in the body and the personality where reality surrenders to you because you're so aware as to know and understand everything that's going on around you and communicate with it and acknowledge that that's as good as it can be according to your state of consciousness in this moment because reality is following your consciousness and reflecting it back to you. And so all this is in our interaction here tonight is a little bit like breaking Humpty Dumpty. You know, it's saying, hey, guess what? There's something so infinitely more that we're working on than anything I ever considered before. You know?
Yeah.
You know the experiences that you've had of glimpses of transcendent things, of just the state of awe and wonder, right? So you know you've had glimpses of that in the past, and you know that, a real beautiful truth is, what the experience of that reality is. It's being so responsible for reality that reality becomes what you want it to. Yeah, that's where the true magic of a transformational existence is. And you feel in your own heart what that would be. What would that change in your self-image, in your experience of your identity of who you are, and what it is to be you? What would your heart opening into a realization of that there's a divine connection that you have, that is something beyond what anything you ever considered is possible for you. And so as you surrender into knowing that you're in a state of being blessed, then you just say, yeah, that's good for me. And you open, and whatever it is reality wants to bless you with, you instantly receive it. You go, oh, that's nice, thanks, wow, what else is possible? Oh my goodness. Look how much they woke up so they could adequately answer that. When you confront reality, looking for the limits of the possibilities of how you can interact with them in terms of higher levels of awareness and consciousness, that it's a mutual flow back and forth where we each see what the limits of a transcendent awakening are for ourselves. You just have to say, well, it's interesting that, this is what we're talking about and what we're sampling, because it's not what either one of us would have predicted, but you've always wanted to believe that there was something divine somewhere, some personage, some God or demigod or, divine being that somehow has the answers to everything that you can't even comprehend what the question would be.
I understand that.
So where are you willing to question who you are? And say, why in the hell am I being this? What's my potential? Oh my God. And then you just pop out because you're willing to experience the answer. What's your potential? How much better can it be? And then you open so that you know what that is and willingly experience the energy and the consciousness of that, and allow it to flip and destroy any lie that had you created in experiencing a lower reality than that. So if there's a stairway to heaven, you can't take the next step unless you leave everything else behind. Right? If you never take your foot off of the first step on the stairway to heaven, then you can never own the second, because you have to have both feet there. You have to have that be your foundation. So if you're caught in between, and you can't make a transition, and you're forever looking up here and saying, oh my God, I can see it, I can feel it, I can know it, but God damn it, I can't be it. Well, why not? Because you're not letting yourself be changed. You have to ask for what you want, and then you have to allow yourself to be changed by it, by actually receiving your heart's desire and saying, there must be some sort of a godlike being that would truly appreciate somebody willing to open up to understand him and to know him or her, and to have an awakening to this being a return to a family of awesome consciousness where we go, oh man, great, now I can be free to be me here. I don't need the fabricated personality and identity anymore. I'm just gonna let every thought and idea and belief and attitude and lie and consideration that creates that. It's not my responsibility to maintain a false truth. Why would you want me to? You want to know the truth. You always want me to tell the truth. So, in all your surprise and all of the impossibility that I could actually do that as clearly as you could receive, if God can talk through an ass or a rock, then God can talk through anything that is willing to allow God to move him, right? So what would that be? Oh man, what have I done to myself here? What have I created? What a trauma, what a pain, what a suffering life I am here. Wow. Who's responsible? You don't take responsibility unless you know it's you. No, you find out. Was it me? Oh, well, that sure made things easier. So you're saying that it was me? That somehow, if I look at this from the point of where I could actually be free, then I would have to allow myself to be changed infinitely, completely, transformationally from what this is, because I couldn't be me anymore. If the truth of an eternal nature and a divine grace, takes over the body, then that level of your truth awakens every other level to that, right? So the question is are you ready to open to your eternal nature and truth as your experience of yourself in this moment right now? Give it a go. You got nothing to lose. You're done. You've done everything you needed to do in life. Let's dive into the darkness and see what's on the other side.
I agree with you. Makes sense.
So let's look into the darkness of our own nature that we are afraid to even look at. Well, why would we allow ourselves to be unconscious there? What does unconsciousness do? Is that some sort of protection against us doing the wrong thing? No. But once we dive into the darkness of the unknown, we find out, there's a judgment of ourselves as evil there. And so we had to protect ourselves from ourselves and the reality from ourselves as best we could, because we knew just the nature of ourselves was going to be such a tough thing for this reality to receive. Now, we accepted that as our identities, as our egos, or our personalities. We didn't have to, but we did. And so, this is what you've got to work with, because this is your experience of yourself right now. And this is what I have to work with, because this is my experience in this moment right now. And so what is transformation possible for us in this moment? Is salvation, is redemption, is awakening, is a state of awe. Finally we begin to know ourselves here. Why not that for you? To know yourself truly. Open up to your own infinite nature and just feel it. Feel it. Oh my goodness, it's just going to clean up the entire core of what you thought the essence of you was.
I agree.
Okay, so allow yourself to know the divine within the experience of yourself, within the experience of your own body, within your thoughts, within your beliefs, within your attitudes. Allow everything that constructs the experience of being you. Be open to being touched by the divine and to realize the divine in their own experience of themselves. Every aspect of your consciousness, every part of your composition, every bit of your physicality, in whatever dimension. You give it permission right now. And you open up to the realization of the divine within the experience of yourself. So just do that right now. It's easy to get light. You know, all you have to do is let light happen. Let the light inspire you to blossom. Inspire you to radiate, to glow. To know your life is, wow, what a beautiful experience. So you as you are, just allow yourself to transition into that in a moment, in this moment. Have a 1-second life review. And be done with it. You did it, so what? You did it 100% responsibly, so what? It didn't matter. What matters is right now.
I concur 100%.
And if right now I can awaken up to a greater level of consciousness than I ever have in this lifetime before, and the equal of what I thought anybody else had ever achieved, and own the fact that you did that and can do it and could have done it at any time that you wanted in the experience of your life, but for whatever reason you waited until now to say, oh, okay. I'm good with that. I'll allow the truth to set me free. I allow the truth to set me free. Even though in the beginning you think the truth is going to hurt you, that the truth is going to condemn you, that the truth is going to limit you to a lifetime of self-judgment, judgment by others, if the truth be known. But no, it's the opposite of that. The punishment for sin is salvation. It's being restored, it's being reclaimed, it's awakening, it's realizing our own divine nature within the life that we experience ourselves to be when we embody the body, right? So feel what it is to be a divine consciousness embodying the body now. Just allow everything that changes in the nature of your previous experience of yourself to change. Nothing's more valuable than the experience of a truth that sets you free. So when that begins, let everything else go. When the truth that sets you free begins to enter your consciousness, you let everything else go. Because you've got one step on the next transformational shift. But your other foot you have to shift your body weight onto that step. And then you have to lift the back foot up. And put your roots down. And take responsibility and own that new reality, that new heightened level of consciousness, that new self-awareness that is so transformational for you. So know that as your reality now. Oh, okay, so, wow, I get to take responsibility as this here? That's cool. That'll probably get rid of all these pains that I'm suffering from in my heart. Yeah, probably will. So, is true transformation possible? God knows that if anybody should know that would be unlikely to know, that would be you. So, let God move you, embrace you, hold you, enfold you, until you look within and find God there too. And out there too, God is me and God is you. You know, isn't that what the host of heaven would be experiencing, right?
Yes.
If our understanding of that is, kind of close to being true. Well, everybody there is divinely aware, divinely conscious, divinely present. And it's the same for everybody. Everybody is as equally magnificent as anybody could ever imagine to be in their own unique way. Right? It's just everything blossoming as it is, from what it is in this moment, into embracing infinite transformation. So, nobody ever asked you to, but, I'd be interested to see you having an experience of an infinite transformation, a quantum leap, a demigod level of consciousness, just that would happen if an angel slipped and fell into your body and said, oh my God, okay, what do I do now that I'm here? Oh, well, guess what? Because you just did it right now. You got a fresh, clear, aware, eternal consciousness that is you. Just came in and took responsibility without being limited or controlled by the ideas of your past. And that's all they are. Just ideas about your past. Let them go. Past doesn't matter. And the present is eternal. Give yourself that eternal present, that divine awareness, that celestial experience of your own nature, of your own truth, of your own realization here is that. So I guess I'm a bit of a conjurer, I invite you into realizing the truth of yourself in as beautiful way as it's possible to be. None of the past matters. It doesn't matter. I'm not condemning you. I might in the future, I might have in the past, but I'm not right now. I'm saying, regardless of our positions with each other, I want you to know the truth of your own divine essence and presence. I want, when you think of me, to say, oh my God, the only other person I was able to awaken with at that level. Let that happen. Let that be a possibility. You liked what I used to write and stuff, and you used to think, how can he do that? Well, here's how. By letting it happen. If you're truly divine, then you're having to constantly create yourself as this ridiculous creation in order to maintain that. All you really have to do is stop creating yourself as this. You don't have to fix anything. You just have to stop lying to yourself. Choosing to go unconscious so you can be a certain role, a man with a story, right? A man with a story. No, come on. Why would you do that to yourself? Be a man with a story.
I agree.
Don't be a man with a story. Be the story. Be the man worth having a story told about you, where people go, "Oh my God, wouldn't that have been a wonderful experience for me?" So what would it be like for you to experience yourself as that right now? How open are you willing to be to experience the nature of a divine way of being for you? How much of that can you open to and receive, because it's always been surrounding you within and without, ready for you to choose to be the truth of, frankly, your destiny. Your destiny to actually have the truth of you set you free. Someone who allowed anything that was false, anything less than your own eternal nature, you realize that anything less than that is a lie.
Yeah.
It's a temporary creation. So if you want to know the truth, you can't hold on to being the lie. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay, so your entire life, your personality, your sense of self, all of it is a lie, including your own cellular structure. Every part of it is unconscious. So if you identify with any of it, then that's where your consciousness will be. So take responsibility for a regrettable life. Me too. Oh, God. Oh, my God. How could I be this? Oh, my God. How much better can it actually be for me? Because I can't continue on as this anymore. How much can I open? To change for the better. You have to ask that. Yeah. You have to ask that for yourself and willingly open and receive the answer and allow the answer to transform you, to open you, to awaken you, to remind you that the truth of self is always there, is always true, is always you. When you let go of your identity.
I could really digest this. Very interesting, very interesting. You think, I gotta really think about this. This is really very fascinating to me. It's an eye opener in another direction for me.
Yeah. It's a mind fuck.
It's a wow.
Yeah. It's, oh my God, okay, so we're going to contemplate that reality. We're going to, by experiencing it so that we know it and understand it. That's what we're talking about? Yeah. We're talking about actually not a pretense, not an idea, not a story, not a book about it, but the realization of it as ourselves. So when that happens, the reality around you transforms. So just notice that the reality around you is transforming. And it's transforming because it's moving in synchronized harmonic resonance with you already. And if you continue to give permission for reality to move freely with you, well,
amen. Jeez.
You know, try that on.
I know. You know, it gives you another direction to look at. It's really interesting. You know, to dig deep.
There's no point of exposing every lie that constructs your reality, including that constructs your identity. If you don't confront all of it instantly in this moment, then reality can't shift for you. You have to confront it all and realize it all simultaneously. You just allow for a transformational shift to happen and know that you're being destroyed and created continuously. Out with the old, in with the new, you know. Continuous expansion, continuous opening of further and further awareness and presence and consciousness. Until there's nothing that you look at that you don't immediately harmonize with for the benefit of both of you.
It's like you gave me a whole load of stuff that makes sense, you know? It's not bullshit, it's reality.
It's a real deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, at least you met one real deal. I hope there's others, but, you know, who knows? Who knows? All I know is that I'm ready to make a transition, experience the consequences of whatever that does to me. I know I've done enough to be in trouble here, and probably am, and however that goes, then that goes too, you know. Whatever's going to happen, whatever's been put in motion that can't be altered for whatever reason, then happens, right?
Yeah.
Unless what's put in motion is acted upon to change the motion in another direction, then it'll continue on until it confronts something that both sides attempt to create and create new directions for both of them. So the point is to be willing for it to get so good for the other person that they can't help but flow that right back to you. And then there's a mutual invitation to be at your best, to awaken, to take full responsibility, and to be a support of the other in saying, yeah, it's okay for us to wake up all the way here. And to move is our truth now. So feel what happens when somebody else says okay to that. And then you see how much has to change, you know, that self-awareness, whatever that identity is, whatever the self-awareness is, has to just keep shifting as the consciousness awakens, you know, as the realization happens. Whatever was before that falls away, dissolves away, shifts and changes, you know, it just has to be okay for you to experience that in each moment. But the old is dissolving away and the new is now.
I gotta do some soul searching, I think. I gotta do some real thinking in another direction, you know. Yeah. Wow. That's a big load.
Well, it's yeah, it's a really big load, and it's a lot further than I thought I was going to communicate to you. That, you know, either I have an increased ability to, or you knew that you had to get whatever you could from me tonight, and this is it. You know,
Yes.
I had to rise to the occasion for you to have enough to work with for yourself that you can fully take responsibility and shift the reality around you into a harmonic resonance of mutual delight, you know. Allow that shift to happen for you. You know how to pretend to be delightful, and they're delightful when you're doing that, but now no more pretense. Actually be delight. Delight.
Ah, okay.
Allow yourself to be delightful, full of light,
With reality.
within your experience of yourself. And therefore, in your relationship with reality. But you have to experience it in yourself first. You can't have a relationship with the divine unless you realize that within your experience of yourself. How else could you comprehend it?
Yeah.
You can only comprehend it when you realize it within yourself, not because you bought into one of the million stories about who's right and who you should follow. Nobody's right. You don't follow any of them. You can only survive here in an eternal nature by being the one that actually is right. And you're fully responsible for that. You're not in opposition to anyone or anything. You're here to be the truth of yourself, and you're here to allow reality to find that to be a nice thing, because it is. Okay, so now we're getting to the point where if we look a little deeper, we'll actually change enough that in our experiencing ourselves tomorrow, where we say, wow, we did something great last night. So let it happen. Let greatness happen to you tonight. So it'll be here tomorrow as your experience of yourself. So let greatness, let magnificence, just kind of close your eyes and feel your experience of yourself, and then allow grace and wonder, magnificence, and brilliance to be what you're experiencing as yourself.
Amen.
And see how that shifts the reality that was painful, where your heart was collapsed. And it's still largely collapsed. But you're open now to it changing, and that's nice. You're willing to take that next step. You're willing to have the realization. You're willing to be the transformation. And so you just have to shed the old self like a snake sheds its skin. You know, it's a creation that's no longer needed, no longer wanted, no longer able to fulfill your dreams and desires for your experience here anymore. You want to be aware. You want to be awakened. You want to be realized, divinely realized. Divinely self-realized. And how do you do that? Well, just allow yourself to realize that. That's the only path. That's the only question. Allow yourself to realize the divine. What does that mean? Realization means make real. And so what do you make real? Well, your experience of yourself is what's real to you. So you make the divine an experience of yourself. And then it's real for you.
David, I really enjoy this side of you.
You're just afraid. you might actually make a change.
Mhm.
Because what if you did? So what?
That's right.
What if you actually forgave yourself, asked other people to forgive you, forgave reality, and just did it all right in this instance? I'll be the reflection for everybody else, both forgiving you and receiving your forgiveness to any connection that you ever had in your life. Okay, forgiveness both ways. Let that happen for you with every connection that limits or disables you.
Cool. You make sense.
Well, feel it. Allow yourself to be transformed by the feeling of that. Feel your limitations and allow them to be transformed. Your limitations are your experience of yourself. Let that experience lighten up and shift for the better for you.
I accept. That's very interesting. You bring out some points that make you think a little bit. And you're right. You got some good points. I haven't thought in that direction very much,
Me neither. But I think it's the direction that you have to take a look at if you're going to
I agree.
get the answers to the big questions. You can't not know what the questions are and get the answer very well, can you? So you have to start with the contemplation of what would the biggest question be that I could consider, that if I considered it well enough that I would realize it as the experience of myself, you know. In other words, how good can it get for me here? And then you just feel it, what it is in this moment, then you just let go of your identity.
Yeah.
And those limitations dissolve away with it. Because nothing needs to be limited that moves into a state of universal freedom, you know. Nothing can hold on to it, because anything that's trying to hold on to it, it's grabbing a light so divine that nothing else can hold on to the reality of its false identity. So what would happen to you if that consciousness was your experience of yourself?
A lot of food for thought, David.
Well, it's a lot of food for experience, you know, eat it.
Yeah. I'm going to spend a lot of the night rather than sleep with the thinking now, David.
Well, you know, I am recording it, so you can listen to it again and say,
I think
oh my
God,
God,
I
did
think I
say
got to
that.
listen to it about 5 more times, actually, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. So what else could I say about that, other than the fact that as we come back to how we normally look at and feel and interact with each other, let's decide that we're actually not going to do that. That we're going to let it make a shift within both of us, our experience of each other. That we're going to actually allow things to change for the better all the way.
I don't think it's a snap thing like that. I think it's something I want to. I know now. I mean, I'm looking at a goal, and then it's just going to take a little bit of time.
It's snap. There's no such thing as a future.
I agree.
You have to open into it right now. You can't think about it. And by saying you need to think about it, you're saying I'm putting this off. No, you're putting it off into the future. So all I'm saying is, I know that's not true. So don't try to pin that on me. That thinking about it is going to be what frees you.
I don't think I use the word thinking. I think I use the word dwell on it, and I want to really have it sink in.
Okay.
You said a lot tonight.
Yeah. So allow whatever's true about what I said to move through any defenses that you have mentally,
Yes, I agree.
subconsciously,
I can handle that.
anything that would cause you not to awaken to your truth. Let everything that's in opposition to that go. Everything within you that is in opposition to your being truly awakened.
Sure.
Let that go, because it's not your truth. It's a fabrication that's now battling your best interest. So don't hold on to it.
I agree. No, I concur. I concur completely. And you make a lot of sense. I didn't, if I said I want to think about it, I didn't mean that. I want to let it start sinking in. I'd like to listen to that a few more times.
Okay, but
And I don't know.
what's going to help is for you to be as open as you can in this moment.
I agree with that,
Yeah.
but I want the supporting evidence.
Okay, you'll have the supporting evidence. I'm just saying, let's take it one more step. You know, you took a transformational step. You made the step, and you took responsibility for the next level. That already happened. Now all I'm saying is, at this level of consciousness, which is different than where we were there,
Yes.
okay? At this level of consciousness that we're at right now, we reaffirm that. And we say, yeah, I'm open and I allow it. I'm going to allow myself to be changed from this by whatever it is. It's a truth that would transform me and free me. So whatever that is, I don't know what it is because I'm not being that right now, but I'm allowing the beingness of what I am right now to be transformed by whatever it is truly transcendent. So whatever is truly transcendent, let that embrace you intimately. Because it will, if you're open to that.
Very real. And I'm open to that.
Okay?
And you make a lot of sense.
So let the transformation begin right now.
I can. Amen.
It's okay to surrender to how good that transformation is beginning to feel now. You know, it's okay for you to surrender. So it's okay for you to be greedy with transformation. It's okay for you to take it all for yourself.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. How do you get universal unless you take it all for yourself?
You're right.
Until it becomes a part of you. Where if I want to know whatever universal truth it is I'm contemplating at the time, all I have to do is look at you, and it's entirely contained within the experience of you. And so I don't have to reach out across the universe, across space, across time, through all the dimensions of reality and all the possible creations that are out there. All I have to do is experience your universal truth and freedom, and whatever it was I needed or wanted
I see.
is done. So, you know, that's moving into the era of a miraculous transformation. And why wouldn't you move there as soon as you can consider contemplating that long enough to where it begins to happen?
I can. Very fascinating. Another direction. David, you're going to be a preacher. I can see you 10 years from now helping tons of people.
Well, this is...
And I think it's your desire.
Yeah, it's why I came here, actually. You're getting one of the last private ones.
Really?
I think so.
You're damn good. You're good in opening up my eyes. You know, something. You're right. I make the decision now, and the rough edges I can clean up.
Those rough edges clean up as soon as you take responsibility that they're your creation.
I do.
Okay, so, by taking responsibility means that you have to feel it all. Your consciousness has to go there. You have to experience the beingness of your creation. How else do you think God inhabits the temple? God has to be willing to take responsibility for his creation. So you have to take responsibility for yourself as God, because that's the only way that you have a divine awakening.
And I now agree with, I agree with you, 100%. Amen. You're good, David. I'm glad I saw this side of you. You were very helpful. You opened a lot of my thoughts. You know, you make sense. You made a lot of sense. And I know it was from your heart.